You ever see one of those giant American Ford trucks and wonder, how on earth does it end up costing as much as a supercar here in Australia? I mean, it sounds completely nuts, right? But it's true. Today, we are going to solve this puzzle. We're going to break down exactly how a Ford Super Duty's price tag just balloons on its way down under.
Yeah, just let that sink in for a second. Over $250,000 Aussie dollars. And look, we're not talking about some tricked out custom model with all the bells and whistles. Nope, this is the starting price for a privately imported Ford F-Series Super Duty. That is some serious cash for a truck.
Okay, so this is where it gets really mind-boggling. Back in the US, you can grab a base model F-250 for around, what, 46,000 US dollars? But by the time that exact same truck lands here in Australia, the price has just gone through the roof. We're talking a price jump of over $150,000. So where on earth is all that money going? All right, let's follow the money. We're going to trace the journey of one of these massive trucks, all the way from a dealership in, say, Texas, to its new home in Queensland. We are going to uncover every single cost, every fee, every charge that gets tacked on to create that absolutely staggering final price. Okay, so first up, we have to start in America. To really wrap your head around why the price changes so much, you first have to understand what this truck is in its home country. Because the F-Series Super Duty, well, it's not just another truck over there. It's basically an institution. And this is absolutely key. In the US, this truck is a workhorse. It's the go-to for anyone who needs to haul something, tow something, build something. So you've got to think of it less like a luxury vehicle and more like a really big power tool. It's an essential piece of gear for getting the job done.
So how do we get to that insane price tag?
Well, it really boils down to four major steps. First, of course, you got to buy the truck in the US. Then you have to ship it across the planet to Australia. Then comes the really expensive bit, a complete top-to-bottom engineering rebuild. And finally, well, you got to pay the tax man. The costs start piling up pretty much immediately. I mean, just shipping a beast this size across the Pacific, that's not cheap. But then it hits Australian customs and the bills just keep on coming. You've got mandatory quarantine, steam cleaning, asbestos testing. It all adds up little by little. And we haven't even gotten to the big taxes yet. There's a 5% import duty and the 10% GST right off the bat. And believe me, we are just getting started. All right, now we get to the big one, the single biggest cost of all, the conversion. And I have to be crystal clear here. This is so much more than just moving the steering wheel over. It's this incredible process called mirror image remanufacturing. And it's exactly what it sounds like. They basically take the entire truck apart and put it all back together as a mirror image of the original. It is an absolutely incredible feat of engineering. And it's what makes the truck legal and, safe to drive on our roads.
I mean, just look at what's actually involved here. We're not talking about swapping a few parts. The entire front structure of the truck, the firewall, has to be completely re-engineered. A whole new right-hand drive steering system is designed and built from scratch. The dashboard, it's taken apart piece by piece and meticulously rebuilt on the other side. And maybe most importantly, all the modern safety systems, from the airbags to the sensors and cameras, have to be perfectly recalibrated to work flawlessly. This is serious high-level stuff, and yeah, it does not come cheap.
So, you're probably thinking, with all these insane costs, why would anyone even bother? Well, this is where things get really clever. There's a legal loophole in our tax law that frankly makes this whole industry viable. It's a bit controversial for sure, but it saves these buyers an absolute fortune. It all revolves around something called the luxury car tax, or LCT. Now, this is a hefty 33% tax slapped on expensive cars. So think about it. On a $250,000 truck, the LCT alone would add more than $50,000 to the price tag. Ouch. So naturally, everyone involved is highly motivated to find a way to not pay that. And here is the secret. The ATO, the tax office, basically says that if a vehicle's principal purpose is carrying goods, then it's classified as a commercial vehicle, and it is not subject to the luxury car tax. So the $250,000 question is this. Can you argue that this giant, often incredibly luxurious American truck is actually just a commercial workhorse? Well, it turns out it all comes down to a pretty simple calculation. The rule is, if the truck's payload capacity for goods is more than its carrying capacity for passengers, it's officially a commercial vehicle. And because the F-250 has such a ridiculously huge payload, it passes that test with flying colors. And just like that, poof, A $50,000 plus tax bill vanishes, and suddenly that massive American truck starts to make a whole lot more sense. Now, Ford Australia wasn't just sitting back and watching all this happen. They saw the huge demand for these big American trucks, and they saw the eye-watering prices people were willing to pay, and you've got to imagine they thought, hang on, we can do something here. So they got to work creating their own factory-backed Australian-engineered solution.
And that solution is the upgraded Ford Ranger. Now, this isn't just a new badge or a fancy trim level. No, this is a serious bit of engineering developed right here in Victoria. It's specifically designed to fill that gap in the market for the folks who need more grunt than a standard ute, but aren't quite ready to shell out $250,000 on a massive US import. It's kind of the just right option.
And just look at the numbers here. They're pretty impressive. This new Ranger can tow 4,500 kilograms. Now, to put that in perspective, that is a full ton more than the already capable regular V6 model. That is a huge step up in capability. It really puts this truck in a whole new class for anyone who needs to do some really serious towing. So, this brings us to the final dilemma for an Aussie buyer. You've now got two very different trucks that on paper promise similar things. On one side, you have the remanufactured American Titan, and on the other, you have a homegrown, purpose-built solution from Ford Australia. It's really two completely different philosophies when it comes to heavy-duty work. So on one hand, you've got the new Ranger Super Duty. You could say it's the sensible, logical choice, it comes with a full factory warranty, and the price tag is, let's be honest, much easier to swallow. It's an incredible tool for the job. But then, on the other hand, you have the F-Series. And that's a statement. It's for the person who wants the absolute biggest, most powerful rig on the road, the undisputed king of towing, and they're willing to pay that huge premium for its ultimate capability and sheer presence. So there you have it. That incredible $250,000 price tag is a cocktail of shipping costs, some truly mind-blowing engineering, and a very, very clever tax strategy. And now there's an official homegrown alternative in the ring. So the big question is, which one is the right choice for Australia? Is the F-Series a necessary beast of engineering for those who need extreme towing? Or is the new Ranger Super Duty actually the smarter, more right-sized choice for our roads? I guess only time and the Aussie truck buyer will truly answer that.